funny man.
How many of us have them?
Funny man, comedian, actor.
Before we go any further,
Tommy Davidson. Yo, he worse than he worse than Paul Mooney, man. Real rap, dude. He's
like,
anybody
worse than that?
Bruh, no.
He's Jack Sparrow.
He what?
He's Jack Sparrow.
I don't know who that is. I'm a little.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Nah, I knew who it was. I'm just a little. I was playing a little slow just now.
Okay.
Yo, man. First of all, I gotta say that was a crazy show, man. I gotta be here tomorrow, man.
Man, please come through.
Most definitely, man. You know, it's like I had some stuff in my head already, though. We gonna come from the off the cuff. He just checked out for those that may be listening, and looking at this. He was checking out the science of my shirt.
Of course.
You know,
you got it happening.
You got it happening.
Oh, you got it happening. What we have here is we have the Olmecs, right here.
He don't know nothing about that, man.
That's the Olmecs. So
who are the Olmecs?
Well, the Olmecs are some stone statues that were left in what is today Costa Rica and Panama. But it's proof that the Africans were in Northern America before Columbus. before Columbus and the Americans, which stands to reason because the Moors gave them the navigational instruments and the navigational knowledge to know where that stuff was first. But truthfully, the reason why the Portuguese started the slave trade, it made all the sense in the world because they were the first ones to know that stuff was over there. And Christopher Columbus, as we know of, Christopher Columbus was one of the first actual slavers to go up and down that coast. So it stands to reason. But actually he was lost.
Exactly.
He was lost, and he had Moorish captains. So he didn't know where he was or if he was even going to be able to re-find him. This night right here,
which one
is in the middle? That's Tutankhamun's sarcophagus. Mm-hmm. You got to leave. Okay, you got to leave, baby. If you can't be quiet. What's wrong with her?
Come on, let's go.
You got it, baby. You can't laugh through this.
Come on,
What's wrong?
Excuse me.
What's wrong?
Let's go. Come on.
You gotta go home, but you gotta go out here.
I gotta go home.
Why?
So funny.
Oh,
You're so funny.
Got her captured.
You want to talk about
right,
that?
me?
Wow, let me tell you.
Yeah. Where you from, babe?
Brooklyn.
No, your family.
Ethnicity.
Brooklyn, New York.
Ethnicity.
Yeah, American.
No, you're Italian, right?
Yeah.
All right. That's what about it.
Okay.
Yes, it's spiritual.
Okay, now
yeah, because
we're going to talk about that because you know what? It's so.
That was a spiritual
reaction.
Sad.
It was sad that.
No, that was a spiritual reaction.
No, this is. I know that, and this is like when you were saying that. She knew it. If I was, it's a movie with.
No, innately, she knew.
Exactly.
That's all. It wasn't. It has nothing to do with her.
Wow.
It's almost like when you come to a brother, and you say, "Hey, man, do you know where the?" I'll give you an example. I got a cab this morning, and I had my bags at the curb, and the black guy from Ethiopia opened the trunk. Mm-hmm. He said, "Come on," and I said, "If I have to move my own bags, I'm not tipping you." So when we got to the hotel, he looked at me and I said, "I told you I'm not tipping you," and he looked a little confused. The reason why he was confused was because he didn't understand why he didn't help me with the bags in the first place. And it's what Frantz Fanon, who's one of the foremost psychiatrists and psychologists of our time, who was actually blocked out of the picture, who Malcolm X studied from, Mandela studied from, and Fidel Castro studied from, who died in the late 50s in a hotel room with the CIA in front of it. But he's foremost psychologist, psychiatrist, and he published a book called, well, he has a book that was published of all his work and his essays on the racism that's in European psychologists, Jung and Freud and their theories. Not only that, but he set all the modern reforms that are in mental hospitals these days. Wow. So they were set up like prisons. He's the one, it was his idea that you can open them up and let people walk around. He also overthrew the Algerian government while running the top paper in Algeria and treating the revolutionary soldiers in the hospital at the same time. Served in the war and is from Martinique. You on point, man. I thought yeah. Don't get it twisted, man.
So,
you think my point is that what Frantz Fanon's theory, psychological theory is that we're in a post-colonial psychology. And what he calls that is an auto-destructional stage, which is the oppressor will oppress for so long that the oppressed no longer have to be physically oppressed. They do it to themselves automatically.
Exactly.
So he was having he was having a psychological response to me, not understanding that it was elicited by what Fagnon described. You see what I'm saying? But what it did was it hurt his income. So see, what we do is we hurt ourselves in that way. That's all. And so the same reaction came from her. It's not conscious. It's not conscious. What has happened to us is a lot deeper than conscious, because if it wasn't, we can just figure it out.
So why do you think? I mean, why do you think they hide this from us? I mean, let's think about what you just broke down about the Almanac kids. Now I'm gonna throw something at you.
Okay.
Do you know about Mount Rushmore?
No.
Mount Rushmore. Listen to the name. The rushing of the Moors.
Right.
Mount Rushmore, and you just talked about the Almanac heads.
Right.
Centuries later, what happens? They're gonna say these guys were here before.
Right.
The same way they did with this.
Right.
But we were already here. And it was
Right.
funny that she was sitting there laughing, because there's a movie, I do radio also.
The movie with
and I would
Christopher
love
Walken
for you to get on this
He did the
radio
scene
show
where
with
he
me,
said, "You
man.
black Moors." I saw it.
Exactly. He said the
True
Sicilians
romance.
were spawned by niggas, and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Moors
yeah.
are niggas.
True
And
romance.
it's like, why, you know, and they try to
True
suppress
romance.
it. And this is
Yeah.
why I love what you said earlier about the whole internet piece, how we're pushing this stuff out on the internet. Also, I don't know, you heard Nas' new album?
No, I haven't.
You got to get it.
Okay.
He said the problem is he started thinking like the colonists. Noble Drew Ali started dropping their consciousness.
Okay.
So what happens? You on point with the whole Moors
Right.
piece, and it's like maybe I could throw that out there. We need to do a movie on the Moors.
Yeah.
On the
Well,
Moors.
that's ironic that you point that out, but that's the epic feature that I want to do.
I'm with you.
The
Man.
epic, and
work with
when
you,
I say
man.
epic feature, I mean the epic feature, like you got Gladiator and you got Troy in those movies. Not 300, that was a cartoon.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna hurt this guy.
yeah. Huh?
He's funny.
I'm talking about, historical.
I know.
Like Alexander. And,
Yeah.
And that's one of my first goals, is to do the Moors.
Anything you need on
as
that, let me
an
know.
epic. As an epic.
Okay.
So that's one of the projects. But back to this. And also, Mount Rushmore is actually a knockoff of Ramses' tomb.
Exactly.
And it's a knockoff of the tomb that was actually moved, because they were going to flood the Nile, so they moved it. It's actually a knockoff in stone, because Africans were the only ones that worked in stone.
Exactly.
Africans taught the world how to work in stone. So it's just really a knockoff, just like the Washington Monument is a knockoff of Queen Hatshepsut's obelisk. And the obelisk...
That's history, people.
The obelisks from Queen Hatshepsut's actual temple, there are about 4 of them in existence. There's one that was man-made by Benjamin Banneker.
Big Ben Bey.
Right, whose father was actually Dogon. Whose grandfather was Dogon. So he understood astrology, and he understood irrigation, and he understood those ancient arts. Thusly, that's why he wrote the first American almanac.
Almanac, exactly.
He was able to do that through that knowledge. But the obelisks were placed there by the Masons, who are outgrowth of the Kemetic mystery system.
Exactly.
So
we talking to a scientist, people.
Yeah. So there's interesting, the obelisks. There's one in Washington D.C.
Yeah.
It's a knockoff.
Yeah, we just came from there.
Okay, but there's one in front of the Champs Elysees in Paris. There's one in front of the Vatican. There's one in front of Scotland Yard. And there's one in Washington D.C. So and there's one in Central Park that no one knows is there. That was dedicated by the Moors. I mean, that was dedicated by the Masons. So here we got, millions of Africans from all around the world in New York City, and they don't know that the actual real obelisk that was at Queen Hatshepsut's temple is sitting unguarded, unprotected in Central Park at this moment as we